Welcome to the Download. We're here at Century Mile getting ready for Century Downs opening day of the 2020 live racing season at Century Downs Harness. I'm here with Racing Secretary Josh Murphy. My name is Rob MacLennan. We got 10 exciting harness races on Sunday afternoon in Calgary. Kicking off the card, kicking off the meet. What are you kind of looking for here? Lots of horses going to be off breaks.
Yeah, that's kind of a key. We had some qualifiers last Wednesday, but a lot of these horses haven't actually been in a race since February Super Bowl weekend, some coming from the coast, and some just haven't raced since Century Mile. So it's kind of a bit of a test with fitness and some things, but that means there can be some value to be found.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of odd results of horses that are somehow fitter than somebody else. Is there one barn or another that you might be looking at that might be real tight?
I don't know. Paul Davies has a couple coming in from Fraser Downs, but even some of those, like Yankee Up, I don't think has raced since early February, so it doesn't have a ton of advantage. But I think it's kind of interesting to just look. I think you can find some value, but I don't know if there's anyone that I'd say has a huge advantage, but I guess we'll find out.
Okay, so what do you do with the first? The first race kicks it all off. You know, you can't pick all 10 winners if you don't pick the winner of the first. What are you going to do? Macho Chick's a new one, comes in with like $400,000 made, or the Two Rod Hennessy's, or where are you going?
Yeah, Macho Chick, the 13-year-old one now in the Brian Gray barn, a very classy horse when you look to have almost $400,000 made. I did go to Blink and Gone for Dave Lamont. I thought this horse has probably been the most consistent, oddly enough to say. You just look, a lot of these horses recently haven't had much success. She's on a roll, has been kind of close, but Blink and Gone, I thought, qualified decent. I mean, the start before her last actual start was back on the 5th of January. She did make a break there, but the prior start was against 12-5 mares, Big Bad Goldie, Maiden Alberta, No Mofo Joe, made up over 5 lengths down the lane. She does have some tactical speed. I just think she's the right horse in here. I know hasn't raced in 2 months is a bit of a concern, but I think he's probably the most consistent. Where did you head?
I think I like Blink and Gone here too, but I want to ask you a question. There's 4 8-claimers. There's 2 non-winners of 47.5, non-winners of 6. Would you say one way or the other that the 8s are normally faster, or is it pretty competitive?
I think it all depends on if you have like a non-winners of 6, like Outlaw Alley Oops was a non-winners of 6, making her way up through the ranks, where Go Away and Plain Summer Fantasy have knocked heads with these horses before, I'd say. It all kind of depends, much like you can get a non-2 allowance horse in a thoroughbred race that's on his way to win stakes, and some that are going to end up being claimers. It's kind of a mixed bag. I think these are all relatively similar horses, I'd say, though.
Yeah, I like Blink and Gone. I'm going to use Summer Fantasy second. The one time Phil Giesbrecht drove her, it was a pretty good race. Yeah. Moving on to the second, Maidens, the non-2 girls are with them. My Glam Gal, or do you like Desert Trick, who is going to try for start 31 in a new barn?
Desert Trick's a horse to beat, but I think knowing you and knowing me a little, I think we're both going to try to beat the 4-5 shot that's had 30 cracks at the maiden. Yeah. I thought last time 204-1, no real excuses. I mean, now in the Nathan Sobey barn, we'll see how that works out. Sobey did drive her the past 2 times, but I think My Glam Gal, despite not having raced since the 26th of January, I can't fault that because none of them really have. I thought looked good and did beat Desert Trick last time. I don't know if I'm just going with the obvious choice, but I think My Glam Gal has shown me enough, the only winner in the race, and I just don't really love anyone else.
Is there a chance that Glorious Dreamer's on the improve? Like that? Here's a horse that's at least only made 2 starts. Everybody else in here has been beaten at least 5 times. So Glory's Dreamer could be improving at least.
Exactly. A bit of a tough draw there for Glory's Dreamer, but only 2 actual lifetime races. And I thought raced better last time, despite I'm not sure how good a race that was, but still one, unlike Desert Trick, that probably has some room to get better. Even King of the West making the 3-year-old debut was in the Century Miler series, has some speed. Tyler Redwood does make his return here driving. I think this horse maybe is worth a play around 8-1. It's hard to know how hard they'll bet Desert Trick, but she's the horse to beat. I just can't do it.
Okay, so is there anything to be said about 4 horses off since February 2nd or earlier, 2 horses that qualified? Is that going to be a big edge or is it going to be a little edge? What are you thinking?
I think it all depends how much training some of these horses have. That clearly some guys feel that they don't need to qualify. Some do like to get a qualifier into them. It's much like a workout. I think it's hard to equate it to a race, but I do like some of them that have had a qualifier, but you notice a lot that have raced decided they didn't need to qualify. So I think it does help, but a lot of the qualifiers haven't raced since like the 3rd of November Tropical Dragon or the 14th of December King of the West. I think it's actually a competitive race because I think the 4-5 favorite is vulnerable.
Yeah. Moving on to the third, 1801, mares open, 1 mare open, 5 boys. Do you like the mare? Do you like one of the boys?
Well, it's interesting that Joe Ratchford mare Destiny Hanover that he got out of the Ohio Winter Speed Sale purchased her for $27,000. I mean, she's been racing some good non-winners races over at Miami Valley. It's hard to know the first local start. I think he might get a decent trip, though. I think there's 2 speed horses to her inside. I look at the bottom of her form page where he did win back on the 22nd of November, sat third where he had the rail. I think if he has that kind of trip, that could be good. I mean, Yankee Up was racing at Fraser. My only worry with Yankee Up, he's 8-5, and I'm sure he's a horse you might look to play against because he's right there, but he hasn't won in a while.
Yeah, it's been since December 1st. He's got that good form though. Like every race, he seems to come with something other than the one day he broke. But the question is what is Destiny Hanover? Like they've obviously got a lot of money into her. She's either going to be much better than these, or she's going to be kind of figuring things out. I don't know. Daddy's Eyes is moving way up. Tap the Cake, I don't really think is this kind of quality. Maybe Paradise Hill is the other one.
I think when we were discussing this earlier, Paradise Hill has knocked heads with some decent horses. You look Real Buzz, Icy Blue Scooter, I'm a Dude, Jules Dragon. But the last 2 times he's been at this kind of 1801, 12-5 claiming equivalent, he was second. He made a break the other time, but has been bet down both times. Trainer Rod Hennessy does drive. I think this horse probably fits right well with this group. I think Yankee Up's the one to beat still probably just because he is always right there. But I probably did lean to Paradise Hill trying to get a bit of value.
So moving on to the 4th, Alley Oops goes for her 8th in a row. That's where the conversation starts and ends in this race. Is Alley Oops, does she go for 8 in a row? Or do you like somebody else? Maybe That's It, or somebody at a big price.
Very much respect That's It. I mean, she's classy mare, made almost 250,000 lifetime, but hasn't raced since the 6th of December, gets the outside.
Yeah,
I think she's very good, and this is obviously a step up for Alley Oops, but That's It's not probably primed to win here. More of probably a trip race. He might be good enough to do it, but Alley Oops has been so impressive. Made the transition to Century Downs last time, no problem. I mean, you look at her last 2 races, at 3/4, she's up by 10 in both of them. Despite this will be the best field she's ever faced.
Yeah, this is way deeper.
I still think that her races have been so impressive. The other one I kind of liked a little was Ladies from Hell. He's gone off form, and I know that's not great, but you look at, he did win the Philly Mare Open, her first start at Fraser back in November, and then did win a condition non-winners 5,001 last 3. When you look, beaten Born a Dragon, Paperback Thriller, I mean, had beaten Queen of Thrones. He has the back class, and I just think he might be worth a play. I don't know, though. It's hard to look past some of those past few races, but I think it all goes through Alley Oops, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm going to use Take on the Boys a little bit, but she's kind of at a price. At least she draws well. So moving on to the 5th, here's another big favorite. Outlaw See My Shadow, 3-5 on the morning line. Comes out of some stakes at Fraser, in with some non-2 to non-4 handicaps. What do you think here? Outlaw See My Shadow at short price?
I'd have to think so. I mean, anytime you look at a 3-5 shot, I think you kind of instinctively go to, can I beat it? And I just don't really love anyone in here. I thought qualified well. I mean, and this one's a brother to Outlaw Grabbing Gears, who we've seen had a lot of success here between BC and Alberta. I just thought, even like you look in the Millbank final, Outlaw See My Shadow, the 8-hole to Major Custard, who's a very nice horse for Jim Marino. I mean, this horse races very well. And even back in September as a 2-year-old, I mean, right there with Joe King, I mean, beat Flying Officer, who's been racing well in the non-winner 6. I think Outlaw See My Shadow is just better than this field. Might need a race, but I still don't think that matters. I think he's just the class as this group.
5 with 4 with 1-6. Punch it as many times as you want. Moving on to the 6th. This is probably a little more competitive a race. Outlaw Tootsie Roll's been good. Dave Kelly has been on fire to start the Century Downs meet. Recent O'Brien winner. Lance Ward having the best 6 weeks of a long time for him too, I'm sure. So what are you going to make of it? Probably the top inside 2.
You'd have to think so. The other one I did look at a little was Sonalta Shade for Phil Giesbrecht. I thought that was a good effort against the 5 mares last time. The big question is Outlaw Tootsie Roll. Do you trust her? Been off 2 months, came back and qualified okay. I mean, finished last actually in there. But then again, it's a qualifier. How much stock are you going to put into it? Yeah. She's proving she's better than this group. But also, I don't know. I just think, will Somewhere Ideal try to press her? Will she go wire to wire? I'm not really sure, but I think it's probably those two. Sonalta Shade is kind of an inconsistent horse for me. I mean, raced well last time, but he still just does fit this class, Sonalta Shade, so that's another interesting one. This is probably her last start in here, but I still think Sonalta Shade probably to me is worth a bet. Just Outlaw Tootsie Roll hasn't raced since the 5th of January, and Somewhere Ideal I thought raced very well last time in that mixed group with the boys, but I'll try the bigger price of the 3.
Yeah, I can see that. It makes sense to me. Moving on to the 7th, kicks off the pick 4, $1 minimum. Take your shot. Probably the best bet going. Field of 7 for 5 claimers. Non-winners are 35,000 lifetime, also eligible. Kind of a wide open race. The old boys on the outside, though, might have something to say about that.
Yeah, I thought this was actually a pretty tough race. I mean, for a 7-horse field of 5 claimers kind of mixed in, I had actually more trouble than I thought I would with this race. Westridge Warrior does try pretty hard most times, but I thought he got a good trip last time, had the 3-hole. Now he gets the worst post, and you know what? He's always right there, but I guess from the outside, I just don't love him to win, and he'll be a short price. I actually went to Northern Titan, who didn't do much last time, had a bit of a rough trip. But the 2 times Dave Kelly's driven him on recent form were both wins, did beat this exact race 2 back. And I just think there's not a lot of speed in here, so I'm kind of interested whether Dave tries to wire this horse or sit just off. The other one I kind of went to is Tito Santana. How do you view this open race?
I like Northern Titan a little bit. I was going to use Lizard King, hoping that they're going to get him back like they used to.
Mhm.
Like, he's been way too close the last few starts. So I'm hoping Lizard King can kind of get back and make a run. But if there's no pace, it's kind of hard to get
And
close.
Tyler Redwood, driving his familiar, has trained this horse. It seems like this horse has been in a bunch of different barns all over between here and BC. But he's a classy old horse. You look, almost 400,000 made. He knows where the wire is.
260 starts will do that to you. Moving on to race number 8. This is the non-2 or 4 claimers. Big Engine takes the drop, and it's got to be pretty tough, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look, he's got so much speed. He'll be in front, and despite he does give it up sometimes, I just think he's probably in a good spot here. But there's a few to his outside that I think have something to say, but I think Sobey will get him out front. And I mean, I understand taking a shot against him, but he has raced some decent horses in the straights before. In the condition claimer, he did lose to Windrider, though. I don't know if there's a horse as good as Windrider in here. But even last time, it did concern me a little. Somewhere Ideal, who's a condition claiming mare, found a way to lose to her. I'm going to take him, but a little nervously. I think I'd want a few others in there. I know you kind of were a little against him or had a bit of a price play in here.
Yeah, I'm going to take Just a Dragon. Like, how do you not go that way?
Mhm.
First off the claim, goes to a barn that has had some success with horses like Fanatical Maniac. You get Dave Kelly to jump aboard. This horse he fits the non-4 part of it, so he gets handicap to the outside. But this horse can come with a run, and if he moves forward a couple of ticks, which is quite possible off the claim, why not at like $20? Take a shot.
Well, you
here.
have to look too back when he did have the 8 and the 7 hold down in the early part of December and the end of November. He's right there with this group.
Yeah.
I mean, I went big engine, but if I was playing a pick 4, I'm definitely going to use this horse because, first off the claim, and he's proven out of tough posts that he can be competitive with this field. There's no reason not to have him in there. And like you say, if he's going to pay $20, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a horse that has great upside to run a better race today. Moving on to race number 9, field of 9, 75 claimers, also eligible non-winners of 6. Kind of a weird group. Working Class Hero comes in from Fraser. Outlaw Ace of Spades has been off since super finals. Cajun Beat, all he ever does is win. Like, what are you doing?
It's a really tough race, actually. I mean, I could make a case for about 3 or 4 different ones here. I probably would just lean to Cajun Beat because I've tried to beat him so many times, and every time I do, he just finds a way to win. It doesn't matter if it's a 5 to 75, a straight 75 claimer with the non-winner 6. The one thing that's consistent about him is he's always winning or right there. My only question is Mr. Peterman does draw inside. He's going to be behind him. But even Outlaw Ace of Spades was kind of the other one I looked at that, I mean, had a big race in the super finals. Even the non-winner 6 prior to that from the 8 hole came flying late, comes home quick. But then again, we haven't seen him since the 2nd of November. I know you had a bit of a crazy long shot in here.
Well, it's going to be hard for Cajun Beat from the trailing spot to go past the horse that's going to win the race. So Mr. Peterman, 20-1 in the morning line, gets Jamie Gray back, who drove him to his last win. He finally draws inside 8, 8, 6, 7. He had a break in there. He's been shuffled back twice. At a huge price, this horse is going to run a big race. Rod Starkowski, Jamie Gray, take your shot. Mr. Peterman, I'll see you in the winner's circle. Moving on to race number 10, we've got $5,000 claiming mares, a field of 9. And is this the Shelley Arsenault show, or are we taking a shot?
As long as Remember the Party behaves herself, she wins this race. I mean, it's pretty simple as that. I mean, she was 2-1 against the 8,000 mare. I mean, Big Sure has been a good mare.
She crushed it.
Yeah, exactly. And even the start before, she did something funny at the top of the lane. She wasn't charged with a break, but she kind of hit her knees. It looked like something where she put in a few funky strides. I don't know what to call it, but Paul Davies does get along with her well, despite a bit of trouble last time. I just think if she behaves herself, she's much better than this field, and I'm going to take that shot, especially the last leg of the pick 4. I know she's going to be a short price, but I just don't think it's worth trying to beat her, hoping that she makes a break, because I just think she won't.
This is the fun one. She's winning or she's breaking.
It's one or the other. You're either all on board saying she stays flat, she wins for fun, or you say, I'm not singling a horse at 3-2 that's made a break and kind of tried to make a break 2 back. There's interesting horses in here, like Love That Six Pack, who gets a new barn. Sobe gets another one from Don Howlett. This is a jackpot high 5 race, so maybe some value in there. Ben Jenna, what do you make of her? A horse in the Harold Haney barn now?
She won by 15 at Western Fair last time. That's got to be worth something. Like, she's got some okay races on her form. I like her. I could use Ask for Me a little bit underneath, but remember the party's the conversation here. It's kind of it's behind her. It's pretty wide open. I know I don't like Golden Echo. Trying to go to the lead from the trailing spot is not going to work for her.
And especially the horse that she'll probably be behind on the gate, and Love That Six Pack doesn't have a lot of speed. Even Remember the Party from the 2 doesn't have a lot of speed. The question is might be who makes the lead in here. Yeah. That's going to be interesting. I mean, Remember the Party's best races do seem to be making a mid-race move, kind of coming first stop. I mean, he went 3 high before, but I don't know. I think it all goes to her. I think he's just better than them, and good horses find a way to win.
Well, thanks, Josh. That's the wrap up here at Century Downs. We got 10 races on tap. Thanks for tuning in. We gave you the down low, and we'll see how you did. We'll see you back here for next weekend. But Sunday afternoon, Century Downs, first day of the 2020 live harness meet.